Good afternoon. This is Debbie Davis. It's October 14th, 2025. Okay, so I haven't done a video in a few days. Just wanted to touch base on a few different things. So I still have these unmarked. I had an unmarked black vehicle, the same type of vehicle that showed up at Melissa Hortman's house, okay, where we know they're associated with the state police. Stalking me this morning. Okay, these are dangerous. I don't believe these are even real police. Then I had a Dodge Charger that had like a police, these are not real police. You can buy these things online now and turn your car into a police vehicle, and with a cage and the police mirror looking thing and the lights and everything. I mean, it's insane. These people are dangerous. So then I had a Dodge Charger one that looked like a cop. Then I had a state police. Okay, and of course they have no warrant or a reason to be stalking me, but they are, and that's a whole other issue. Somebody sent me something yesterday that they are, because I said I'm trying to figure out exactly how they are able to stalk us. Yeah, so you're being tracked everywhere. It's so apparently they can. There's the cameras around the cities, the traffic lights and stuff tucked into the poles. Okay. License plate readers. They're using like license plate readers to track us, apparently. So, if you go to a mechanic, they get your license plate. I had to go to a mechanic and they had to get my license plate, and then apparently that license plate number goes to the police, and then they can illegally track you by your license plate. Okay. Flock safety, they've spread into neighborhoods, HOAs, schools, and businesses. They're not just cameras, they're part of a cloud-based surveillance system. Every scan is uploaded to the Flock servers. The footage includes the license plate, the time, location, and the make, model of your vehicle. Okay, so the police are the Flock's primary clients. So they're illegally surveilling us through this Flock system now. These cameras that are being implemented, so that's another illegal thing. Why do you think I keep talking about the police? I mean, they are so dangerous. That you don't have permission or a warrant to do this, of course. So anyway, that's one thing, and then so I wanted to warn people about that, and then I just wanted to warn people about, it's not just the police, it's the Masons, the male Masons that are police and everything like that. And it's, I understand there's been decades and things of this going on, but it's also the females, and the females are act like the spies for them, and they're witches. And I just right in this location here, I've had them they stole a jacket right out of my room so they could take the hair off of it, and then all of a sudden the jacket was somehow ended up back on on the door thing. Okay, these are witches, and then so they can curse you with just like some piece of your hair. I had somebody illegally went in my room and did that. Okay, so that's breaking and entering. Okay, and these are witches that work at different professional establishments, and they could do witchcraft right in your room, your hotel room against you. If they come in like a housekeeper or something, and they take a thing of your hair off the brush or anything like that. I mean, these are really extremely dangerous people, and these curses are real. I've had witches in my family for years, and I didn't know they were witches, and so, but I've had to to learn these things over the years. The other thing they do is, they'll ask you, when you have a conversation with them, it doesn't feel like a real conversation. It feels more like an interrogation, like into different things, like every little detail of your day, or every person that you talk to, or and it's not, and it's not for your benefit. It's like to collect information for their covens, and so the covens are all associated together, like all over the whole country, and and most of them, a lot of them, are associated with the whole P Diddy thing. The witches were associated with the whole P Diddy scandal. I mean, I don't know how many of them, the witches, I have no idea. And we know some of the celebrities involved, but there's a lot of witches involved in that whole P Diddy thing too, that nobody's talking about. The witches are highly involved, in that whole thing. So so just be careful that when people ask you certain things like that don't seem appropriate, about you, that you hardly know, that's probably a witch. If they're asking for your birth date, or kind of personal information that doesn't make sense, birth date, time, or what, just different things like that. They can curse you through personal information about you, or through a picture. So like when people just like randomly ask you to send them a picture of yourself, or of course on dating sites there's a picture, or on or LinkedIn, or it's things like that. Of course there's pictures, and they can actually use those. It's just so scary. They can, and then they can put it on an altar. So I guess you have to do things to break these satanic altars. But I'm just telling you, I've had this for years around me, and they think they have power and authority, like over. I mean, and they do have a lot of power. I know that they also work, with aspects of the CIA and everything, the covens. So it's not like they're way more dangerous than what people think. Okay, that's just what I'm trying to say. And they can do, very serious things. I've seen men that have been married to witches that are just completely like out of their minds now. Like, I mean, they're just completely, not the same people. Like, I mean, they screw people up. And you have to be, so anyway, I just want to talk about that briefly. But, and then, the other thing I wanted to mention is, I had this issue with this basketball player, I guess, I don't know. This black guy, I don't know what the situation was, and I'm certainly not trying to start a fight with, some professional basketball player. I just have to be careful because I have these CIA, I mean, just today, I had another CIA vehicle around me, Dodge Charger, and that's had happened to be what he was driving. So, but I wasn't trying to accuse him of being CIA. I just, said, well, I have these vehicles that have been following me, so I wasn't sure who you were. And he said, no, I'm a professional basketball player. Okay, but he certainly wasn't nice to me. He was rude, so, and I didn't, I have to, for my own safety, take pictures of these type of vehicles, because they stalk me. They stalk me even when I go to the VA. So, but anyway, I have had black guys like this, and I'm certainly not a racist in any way. Like, I don't have a racist bone in my body. I've had friends that are black people in my life, friends in the military that are black people. Okay, but I have these certain types of black people that have been harassing me on and off for years now, and they're part of the Prince Hall Masons. And the only person that I've heard talk about these people is the Bishop Larry Gators. He talks about them. They're the Boule Secret Society, and they work with the Illuminati. They're like the gatekeepers. They call them. I mean, they're high level. Masons, and I've had them. I had a manager at the place I worked, Wagner, that I believe was a Prince Hall Mason, and this guy was was really dangerous. Was really dangerous. He actually caused people to be injured on the job. Okay, like I was working, like he was my manager on the assembly line, and he well, he started making up stuff about me and trying to accuse me of not doing my job correctly, or different things like that. Okay, then I had one girl try to stand up for me, and then all of a sudden, the next day, she got injured, and she had like the machine came down on her hand, and her hand was squished, and she was out for she needed like 2 surgeries, and then there was another girl that tried to stand up for me, and she had the machine come right on her head, and she had a concussion from and so I personally, we talked about it amongst ourselves, and we thought, that's never happened with the machinery before. Is he doing something to do this? And of course there was like a safety NCO that came in, but it didn't really do anything. But these are 2 people that got injured on the lines because of this man. Okay, we believe something happened. We don't have proof, but it was the 2 people that tried standing up for me, and then I finally his harassment got so bad on that line that I ended up moving to a different line, and then I had a different manager for a while, and I moved to like 3 different places until we finally had an issue, and I just didn't work there anymore. Okay, but this guy, there was at least 6 different complaints against him in the HR office, and they didn't get rid of him. We were uncomfortable working with him, and people kept trying to leave his line and everything like that. And then, but the HR people, they wouldn't get rid of him, and we were afraid of him. So that's the situation that happened at a workplace with him, and I believe he was one of these Prince Hall Masons. I can only assume, because it's like they seem to have all this power and they never get fired. They'll never get fired because somebody's protecting them. And then another situation I had was at a temp agency. Prior to getting hired, I had another bad situation with another black guy, I believe, was part of this Prince Hall, and I was putting sensors together, like putting all the different things in the holes where all the sensors go. It basically like assembly type work, and at this temp agency. And I went to break one time, and he had come back from break earlier, or was there when I wasn't there, and literally disassembled everything that I had done, that it had taken me hours. Okay, and so he literally sabotaged my work on purpose. And then I talked to a manager at the company. I wasn't hired, but I talked to a manager at the company about it, and he documented, but the guy wasn't fired. So, they really seem to have a lot of power and authority in the Masonic order or whatever, So I wanted people to know about that. So this isn't the first time I've had an issue like that with these black people that are, and I'm certainly not saying anything about other African American people, because I have had not, I really haven't had a lot of bad experiences with them. It's just these 3 people, so that have been pretty bad, and that I wanted people to know about. But Bishop Larry Gators talks about these people. They're called the Boule Secret Society. Okay, so I wanted people to know about that. And let's see. But I've got the witches, and let's see, what else was good. I've had, and then the other thing I was going to mention is that I've had, so this has gone on for years, where I have tried to get this cleared up, this fake charge against me in McPherson County, where my residence is. And in South Dakota, and they there's a state attorney that is supposed to be, there's a state attorney in each county. Okay, and so he's supposed to be the one that I contact, that I try to get stuff cleared up with. I sent him my footage of what happened. I said, okay, I clearly sent you the footage of what happened, and then and then right to the point where I left the scene and everything. There was no disorderly. So where are you coming up with this charge? It's called, they have to, by law, by each state, I mean, you have to provide the evidence. It's called discovery. They have to, and this guy won't provide the evidence, and he won't drop the charge. And he won't even pick up his phone anymore on top of it. Nobody can get a hold of this guy. And so I said, I finally called the Attorney General office today, and I said, look, we don't even have a real state's attorney. This guy isn't a real state attorney. Nobody can get a hold of him. He doesn't even pick up his phone. He doesn't return emails. He doesn't provide evidence for anybody. He doesn't even have a working voicemail. So I finally filed a complaint with the Attorney General of South Dakota. Said we don't have a real state attorney. This is not a real state's attorney. This guy is dangerous. So here I am calling him again, and this is what everybody's experiencing with this guy. He doesn't even pick up the phone. He doesn't return emails. We don't even know if he's still there. So they try to say
605 is unavailable. To dial another extension, press 1. To leave a voicemail, press 2, or simply stay on the line. The destination voicemail box is full.
Yeah, see, his mailbox is full. Nobody can get a hold of him. He doesn't return emails. He doesn't return phone calls. Okay, so I tried calling the Attorney General office, and I said, nobody can get a hold of this guy. This is not a real state attorney. Nobody can get a hold of you. You don't have a voicemail. Okay, so don't you think that should be an issue with the with the Attorney General? You don't have a real representative of our county. This isn't a real representative. Okay, so then I tried calling the Attorney General, and I said, and because they said, well, then you're going to have an attorney try to get. Yes, I called earlier, and I left a message for Richard. Can you try transferring me again?
Richard is...
in the consumer complaints area.
All right, and what is your name now?
Debbie Davis.
All right, just a moment, please.
So what I'm trying to say is that we don't have a real representative in our county. So, this is an issue that needs to be addressed with the Attorney General. This isn't a real representative. So, and you're withholding justice from us. This guy's withholding justice. He's not a part of helping assist the real law process.
Consumer Protection, how can I help you?
Yes, I had tried to leave a message for Richard earlier, just a little bit earlier today. Is he available?
No, he is not available. And you already left him a voicemail, or
yeah.
Not?
Is there anybody else that's available?
Let me see I guess, what is your case about?
Well, I was trying to address the fact that nobody can get a hold of our state attorney, Austin Hoffman. His voicemail doesn't work, his phone doesn't work. He's not a real state he's not a real representative of our county. You know how each county in the state has a state attorney or something that we're supposed to go through to get things addressed?
You will have to speak with Richard about this, because you've already spoken to Richard and he's left you a voicemail.
Okay, so I mean, because and then the last person that I talked to, they said, well, try to get an attorney. Okay, that we don't have. What I'm trying to say is that we don't have a real representative in our county, and so that is an issue with Attorney General.
With Richard when he is available.
Okay, I already left him a message about it.
Okay, then
this guy doesn't even have a real voicemail. working voicemail, and you call this a representative of our county, you know, and you act like that we're supposed to put up with this.
Ma'am, you're gonna have to speak with Richard when he gives you a call back. I
Okay.
don't have this case, okay?
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. So I'm trying to address it with them, because you know, you can't have somebody like that as a representative who's withholding justice, not part of justice. Okay. So that's what I'm trying to deal with. And this guy's been a problem for years, along with the sheriff, and where we've tried to get this stuff cleared up, but they seem to all be in cahoots together, and that's the problem that we're trying to convey, you know, is that they're all in cahoots together. And so okay, so